afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the Suit Up Geek Fix podcast. My name is Lo, representing beautiful California on the West Coast. Over in Philly, we got our man Dibs. You can follow him on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. How are you, Dibs?
Doing well, man. It's Friday. It's the freaking weekend. I'm ready to talk some Bad Batch.
Oh, yeah. So if you're new to the channel and new to the stream, we are reviewing The Bad Batch today. Episode 4. It is titled Cornered. I'm not gonna lie, I had some fun with it, but it was another kind of just pushing us along gradually, kind of like, okay, Omega's on the run, Bad Batch is on the run. We finally get an appearance by Fennec Shan. Spoiler warning, spoiler alert. If you're watching, you see down below, this is a spoiler review. So yeah, welcome Fennec Shan. People might remember her from The Mandalorian. So it's nice to see her, and I have more to say about who Fennec Shan is. But what are your first impressions, Dibs, of this episode?
You nailed it, man. Like the ship, needs repair again. Omega is on the run again. It was definitely like a good little chase episode here, episode 4. We kind of made some jokes during last week. We were like, episode, I don't remember, but it went from like Clone Wars to Mandalorian to Rebels, and this was definitely, I think, Rebels. I think we saw a lot of Rebels kind of getting their footing here in episode 4. We're going to be talking about Fennec Shan for sure. She got her moments to shine, no doubt about it. I got a little like some fun Star Wars stuff, I think. You got some world building things. I like how we saw the people kind of celebrating the clones there. That was kind of cool with the war being over. But you had a good chase sequence. We can talk about that. So other than that, it was a solid episode this week.
Yeah, I mean, it was, in my opinion, it was a little bit ho-hum, but at the same time, comparable to last week, I enjoyed it more than last week's, just because for the plain fact that the animation in this episode was really, really, really crisp. The low light planet last week was a downer for me. They did what they could, and they had that little like skirmish with the rebels and Crosshair's new elite squadron, the first stormtroopers. That was interesting to me, but it was just so dark. The action was really almost like it was there, but it wasn't really there. You couldn't really see anything. You just saw gunfire. But this Pantora, we land on planet Pantora. They're trying to repair their ship, and it's beautiful. And it reminds me of like a kind of like a Middle Eastern market, sort of. Kind of, they had like these spirals, reminded me of like an Arab nation type of thing. And then when you speak of the chase sequence, it reminded me of some of the best parts about Attack of the Clones, which was the chase sequence at Coruscant. Yeah. So that was fun. And ultimately, if people don't know this, we get the return of Ming-Na Wen, who voiced Mulan in 1998, and she's actually a really good actress in her own right. She's on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and we saw her in The Mandalorian. We will see her again in the Book of Boba Fett. So that was probably one of my favorite hands-down moments of this episode, just getting Ming-Na Wen back into our lives. She's an excellent actress all around. And it was kind of interesting. I liked how she played the friendly card with Omega, because Omega's naive. She's been like locked away her whole life. She doesn't know the concept of deception yet, obviously. So that part was kind of fun. How about you, Dobbs? What were some memorable moments that stuck out for you?
I'm a film score nerd here, so I'm going to go back to the sound editing and design in this episode, which I think was terrific. You nailed it on the animation, but I thought the sound of this episode was really, really awesome. You had like the cityscapes, like there were some definite Coruscant vibes. Whatever Pantora, like every time I hear that, I think of Avatar and like Pandora, and like I'm waiting for like all these like monsters to start showing up, and dragons, and that military leader. Anyway, the sound design was really strong. I really enjoyed that little theme song they gave, which I'm gonna play here real quick. Hopefully you can hear it.
Awesome.
It was like, let's listen to Fennec Shan's theme. Here we go. Hold on, let me hit play.
If they come back, you know how to contact me. The target got away, but I'll find her.
But
Love
so
it.
that is Fennec Shan's theme. And when they make a theme for a character like that, you know that Fennec Shan's going to be reoccurring, I think, in the Bad Batch, which is really exciting. We just got the breaking news yesterday, I believe, that Dave Filoni is now officially VP for Star Wars creative content. So like, it's going to be truly exciting to see what that means, because this is going to be, for Dave Filoni, connective tissue, building in the Book of Boba Fett. Hold on, getting some noise here. Connecting the Mandalorian, connecting all the Ahsoka series. That's what I'm talking about. So the sound design was awesome. I love that theme so much. I'm getting I don't know about you, Laura. You wanted to talk a little bit about Omega, who's this like super wide-eyed girl. I had some like Luke Skywalker vibes from Omega this week. I thought that was kind of interesting. Like you have this like little girl Omega. She's been on Camino her entire life, not on like Tatooine for Luke. All she wants to do is explore. You saw that like comment in the very beginning. Like she just wants to go on an adventure, which kind of what this episode truly was. It was like a little adventure. But I think that's really kind of the nuts and bolts of what we saw is like Omega needs to grow up really fast. She needs to mature really fast. The stakes are super high. She's running into these assassins. She doesn't know how much is on the line right now. And that's just a kind of like just a little summary of what's going on for Omega. Omega's as cute as ever. Sound was great. Omega was great. Fennec Shan had great. By the way, did you pick up any Ahsoka vibes as well? During the chase scene, when Hunter and Omega blow up Fennec Shan's speeder, you see Fennec fall to the ground with the explosion of the speeder behind her, and she's staring at Hunter. Not unlike the Ahsoka fall from grace, that heroic moment she had in season 7 of the Clone Wars, where Ahsoka falls on the ground with her dual white lightsabers, and the ship behind her explodes in this money shot.
Did Fennec also do like a little bit of a roll? I think that's what Ahsoka did, right? She like rolls and then stands like, you know. So.
Yeah, I definitely got a lot of Clone Wars, a lot of Rebels in this episode. That score like reminds me a little bit of like Asajj Ventress a little bit as well. So if this was we talked about how last week was more Mandalorian, where they're like crash landing on this like planet and there's like ice spiders. No, there's other creatures. This one was Clone Wars of Rebels through and through.
No, and I think that's why I enjoyed it more. Like, especially when they start pulling into Pantora, we get the spaceport, we get the guy like, oh, you need some repairs, and he has that what's that guy's name? He looks like the guy from the cantina. And like moments like that, it's like, okay, this is Star Wars. Here we go. Like, landing in a port, nobody knows who you are, you're on the run. That was really interesting. But also I want to shout out our man Echo from the 501st. I find it so funny how I was joking in the beginning of the season that he is the droid of the crew. And literally in this episode, they physically put him into the position of being an actual droid, which I thought was fantastic. Just really funny, like on the nose storytelling there, but also because like I was joking that he was the droid, and then lo and behold, Hunter plays him off as a droid and sells Echo, which was awesome. And I also love the little joke between Hunter and Echo that he was like, I'm worth more than that, Like I was like, oh, I'll give you 2,000 credits for him, and then Echo was like, no, I'm worth more than that.
3,000.
And I will say, it was fun to see him lead another like little battalion of droids. What series am I thinking of? Did Chopper do a similar thing where he got some like droids together and he had a little like droid team, or was that R2?
Man, I don't remember.
It just reminded me. I forgot which storyline that was. I mean, there's so many episodes of Clone Wars and Rebels. It starts to kind of get much together. But all I'm saying is, it's fun to see that kind of like droid fun, because droids are integral to Star Wars as well. So I think having that type of storyline, having those kind of like jokes for us is just awesome. That's why we love this stuff. So
there's some other interesting. Did you catch that guy that was like, basically a sheep? And he was like, hey, watch it. I just was like drinking my coffee this morning. I just like literally lost it. That was absolutely hilarious. we got this like weird looking dog. No, it was not a loft cat, and I was really upset. I was like,
Right.
loft cat. No,
Right.
it's a dog. It's this weird looking dog. But anyway, we'll get the loft cat someday. I'm sure he'll give us an Easter egg at some point down the road. But yeah, I love those like little nuggets, like that one scene during the chase sequence where they show that one guy in that like delivery truck listening to the like electronic beat, and he's like, I love those like little moments. I love those little moments that like kind of put you into what's going on.
Of course.
Yeah, that's what Dave Filoni is so good at. But
yeah, and I think those details is what really separates his storytelling versus others. And I think he co-directed this episode, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I did not like Wrecker this episode. As much as I liked Wrecker with the bed scene and building the bed for Omega and being like Uncle Wrecker, I'm just growing like more and more tired. Like, dude, like Wrecker and head injuries. Can you name me a better duo than that? Because all the guy does is hit his head on something every freaking episode. I get that he's the comic relief. He had some great one-liners in the Clone Wars, but it wasn't this like obnoxious. I feel like either he's complaining that he's hungry, he's complaining that he just wants to rip some cords out of something, and even worse, Fennec takes down Wrecker in like one throw, like one time.
I mean, I kind of see that they need to establish that she's a threat. Yeah. But at the same time, to your point, Wrecker honestly is becoming a bit of a joke. And it was a little bit like too on the nose. You told me we're out of rations. Now I'm hungry. Like, okay. Wah, wah, wah. All right. Good job, Wrecker.
He's turning into Zeb. He's 100% turning into Zeb. We talked about how Echo is Chopper, and now it is Wrecker is turning into Zeb. He's just like always fat, always cranky, always hungry all the time, and he always wants to punch shit like that. I feel like they're almost like copy paste for better or worse. As much as I
like text like rip like explaining the ship parts, and he's like, just tell me what to rip out.
I know. I just Wrecker's better than that, I guess. But anyway, his intelligence is nerfed. His like him as a warrior is nerfed. I'm dealing with it.
So as enjoyable as this episode was, I think this is 4 out of 16 now. I thought we were getting much less than that. So I think we do have time for these types of mini adventures, especially for like someone like Omega to kind of get some more experience under her belt with dealing with these assassins and these Galactic Empire people that are going to be after her. I think she needs that experience. But do you have any predictions of where we're going so far? I feel like my only gripe with this episode is that we didn't progress the main story along very much. All we did was introduce Fennec, and that was about it. It was just like a little bit of a chase here, a little bit of ship's busted, let's fix it. But nothing really, really significant happened. So do you have any predictions right now, or are we still left in the dark here?
I think there's a good bet right now. I wasn't sure about it at first. But I think after this episode, I think there's a good bet that Boba is going to make an appearance at some point in this series. Who was Fennec Shand talking to there at the very end? That is like kind of the main question. I think it's very clear that the Kaminoans are definitely running Fennec. But could Fennec be kind of on her own mission working for Boba? I think that is a very, very good bet right now. So like I said last week, like I said the week before, it's all, I think, pointing towards some sort of uprising on Kamino. That's definitely my vibe. And yeah, I more father, daughter, family kind of vibes with our Bad Batch and Omega. But other than that, there's not much you have to like to predict. It's not that cut and dry. It's kind of it's like like the last few weeks have kind of been like an event, a story of the week. You know what I mean? Like it's not really. There's no long-term arc right now. So who knows at this point? What about you?
That's fair. And as much as I would like to see Boba, I think that would kind of wreck the continuity of the whole gelled universe here, because if I recall, Boba finds Fennec when she gets injured in The Mandalorian. I think she gets shot, right? And that's when Boba finds her. I don't know if you remember, like his boots and the cape, and we were wondering who that was in season 1. So we'll see. I think that would be nice to see him at some point. Hopefully, for a whole separate storyline, I think that'd be fun. Maybe get some Din Djarin. But I don't think there's too much to dig in here. So personally, I would give this episode about I would give it like a 6.5. It was entertaining and the animation was beautiful, and it's just, I love Star Wars, so I'm gonna watch this entire season. I'm gonna have a good time with it. But it is definitely a filler episode that I think in the grand scheme of things, I probably could have done without this episode. I think this episode its sole purpose was to introduce Fennec as a threat. And I think in its 20-25 minutes, it accomplished that. So how about you, Dodds? What would you grade this episode?
I was in that 7 to 7.5 out of 10 range for me personally. Like you said, the animation, the sound design, it's almost award worthy. It is that good. I like what they did with Fennec. I thought there were some epic moments there. But when are we going to get that Dave Filoni 4-episode arc where, okay, now we have our footing. Now we know where this is going. There's so many different ways this season can go. And we have 14 more episodes, thank goodness, to kind of show us the way. So I think a 7 and a 7.5 range is pretty fair. I love it. I love it to death. You can just I would watch these every single week. I got a lot of Rebels vibes going on right now with this week's episode in particular. So I'm okay with it. I'm not complaining, but I'm definitely desperate. I'm getting a little antsy to know where we're going, who is chasing Omega, what is her role in this moving forward. And you know what? I also had the vibe as well. Now that Dave Filoni is officially VP, what does that mean for Omega? I feel like that could be one of the first. We saw how Ahsoka, we saw her growing up at a young age, and she was just now everywhere. This could be the first of many appearances by Omega in the small screen, big screen, animated live action, you name it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think Omega is a really good character to expand on. And like you said, I mean, at one point, Ahsoka was the annoying little apprentice of Anakin, and now she's one of the most beloved characters in the Star Wars universe. So I'm not saying Omega's going to get there yet, but she's definitely likable right now, more so than Ahsoka was in her first few appearances. So
lastly,
yeah,
I'm feeling some sort of, if talk about predictions real quick, Wrecker is definitely the one they're building up to. There's going to be some sort of sacrifice and emotional moment with Wrecker. That I think that was another takeaway in this episode. They're building with that relationship of Omega and Wrecker into something. That's going somewhere, and I feel like that's going to be exactly some sort of major moment in a few episodes.
Yeah, no, and if I could just add on one more thing, I'm wondering how long the batch is going to stay together as a unit. I'm wondering if they're at some point, are they going to get split up, or are they going to break apart for a purpose, for a mission? That'd be interesting to me. I think the whole, hey, we're in a ship, we're on the run thing is going to get a little stale here. Mm-hmm. So hopefully episode 5 and 6, we start to get more meaningful story progression, hopefully. So
we know this is the end of the clones, and I don't think that, I think that also includes the Bad Batch. I do think that they're going to have to make a huge decision, whether it's for Omega or, save the clone race. I think it's going to be in their hands. And I don't this episode continued to reinforce that. I think this isn't going to end well at all. Just like the Clone Wars, this is a tragedy. And I think Filoni is going to reinforce that 100%.
Well said. But, if you guys are new to the channel, if you're watching this live or if you're watching this later on, this has been the Bad Batch review that we will do every single week that it premieres until the Bad Batch is over. I just want to thank everybody for watching it. Follow us on Twitter at the Suit Up Geeks. Follow us on YouTube. Like and subscribe down below. And if you guys like zombies, we are doing a Dawn of the Dead 2004 versus 1978 versus in about 40 minutes or so. So stay tuned on this channel. If you like zombies, that's going to be super fun. But for Dibes and myself, we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.